All right, so again, we're going to be talking about mindset today, the two different mindsets that are battling for your brain right now. And it's all, hey, Mikhail, how's it going? And it's all based on, boom, this book right here. Let's try not to get the light. Mindset by Carol Dweck. Hey, from Bulgaria. Wow, Ethan's in the house. Wow, where else is everybody around the world? So far, we're all over the world. I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah. In America, Scotland. Hey, what's up? You're back. What time is it in Scotland? Sydney. Oh my gosh, Sweden. We're all hungry. Oh my God, we're all over UK. And then Iowa. 3 p.m. It is 8 a.m. for me. And of course, Johnny's in Florida. All right, so let's get this thing going. So we're going to be talking about the two mindsets in this book. I've got a whole bunch of little markers here, and I realized northern Iowa. That is so awesome. San Jose, Dallas. Hey, Hutch, what's going on? James is here. London, 3 p.m. Wow, thought I'd pop in before I do my own. You knew I was about to do it, didn't you? Yeah, I always do it at this time. This is basically my morning time. I do it as close to 7 a.m. Pacific time as I can. So there we go. So the two mindsets, let's go ahead and go through this. Now, the reason I actually went back, I kind of actually feel like I went back a little bit because we were talking about habits, being able to create habits that will create epic goals so that we can have the epic life we desire, right? But then I realized that there was still one thing before that, and I actually listened to this book maybe a year or two ago, let's say. And I got it. I go, oh, okay, there's these two mindsets, and I kind of got it, and I was like, oh, well, I'm the good mindset, right? Or whatever you want to call the one that, brings a little bit more possibility. So I didn't think more of it, but as I heard somebody else talking about this book again, I started realizing that I actually had taken on the other mindset, the mindset that limits your possibilities, and I didn't even realize it. So I decided to dive back into the book and let's do it. Let's get started. I'm going to talk about a little bit of this as well as some of examples that have happened to me. So right off, it's almost like a book club sometimes, but this is where I get a lot of the information that I'm processing right now is through books, since I'm reading so many books. And thank you so much for the hearts. For new people, all you got to do is tap the screen if you enjoy what I'm talking about. And if you enjoy too, you can down over here, there should be a little Perry guy with a number. You can hit that and click the plus sign next to my name, Jeremy Franson, and you'll follow me. You'll see more of this. I've got so much coming. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about, let me think of another aspect of this right here. It's patience, impatience versus impatience, patience. Very important when you're starting anything. Sending you some hearts, man. All right, thanks, mate. Glad to follow you. Keep them coming. All right. We're very like-minded. Awesome. Okay, so let's start with this. So she starts actually, you got to see Carol Dweck? That is awesome. Yeah, let's connect in the future. Hey, thanks, Gina, for sharing this. All right, yeah, we're going to get right into this. So if you know people that might be interested in, switching this mindset and being able to have the mindset that's going to work for you to be able to create your epic life, definitely share now. Again, you can touch the little guy down there and share. You can now share on Facebook, Twitter, and here in Periscope, right? So the latest update allowed that to happen. All right, so we better get going. Again, thank you so much for sharing. So the first thing she starts off is, what are the consequences of thinking that your intelligence or personality is something you can develop as opposed to something that is fixed and a deep-seated trait? The author of the book is Carol Dweck, PhD. Hey, thanks, Scott. Thanks, Johnny, for sharing. Sharing on Facebook even. We're up to 32. Awesome. Okay, so again, the idea that the question that she poses right out of the gate is our personality and our intelligence fixed, or is it something that we can cultivate and grow, right? And this is the huge key, because I'll tell you what, another little insight into me. One thing that made it, I was married for almost 10 years, knew the person, my ex wife, since I was like 17 or 18. And one of the things that we differed so heavily on is she absolutely believed in this fixed thing. She was like, well, this is who I've been the entire time, you know. You can't change that. And I didn't even know what that was, but I was like, I'm totally different at 32 than I was at 17. Like, I have so many things, and I didn't like the idea of even thinking that things were absolutely fixed. And she goes on to talk about, you know, some of the ups and downsides of that fixed mindset. So I'm going to keep going. So pose the question, are things fixed, or do we have the ability to upgrade and change these things? Very, very important if you're going to want to, you know, live an epic life and take on new challenges, right? So let's define what these two things are. Believing your qualities are carved in stone is the fixed mindset. This creates urgency to prove yourself over and over again. Yes, the book is Mindset. So it creates urgency to prove yourself over and over again. If you have only a certain amount of intelligence, a certain personality, and a certain moral character, well, you better prove that you have a healthy dose of them. It simply wouldn't. It simply wouldn't do to look or feel deficient in the most basic characteristics. So you're just simply trying to prove what you already have. So, and she later actually goes on to talk about, in a fixed mindset, you don't believe in effort. You want to just magically, and think of our culture right now is huge on this. We love seeing somebody that wins first and fast. The first time they try it, boom, they win, and they win big. That's what we want to see, as opposed to the person that took 10 years of study and mastery and just like a ton of effort to make what they want happen. But which one, which one gives you the possibility of doing the things you want to do? Maybe even if you don't consider yourself extra talented in that particular area, right? Like, how crazy is that? Ah, man, it blows my mind, and this is absolutely necessary before we can even work on the stuff we've been working on, before we can work on habit stuff. Because if you think things are fixed, then why would you work on habits? You're like, well, I'm just not good at that particular thing, so that's how my entire life is going to be for the rest of my life. Like, imagine... Yeah, people want to believe it's luck. Now, I believe there is a little bit of luck out, that is required, but fixed mindset people actually believe that the people that have that happen had the personality traits and the intelligence already. It was fixed. Okay, so here's what the growth mindset is. All right, so this growth mindset is based on the belief that your basic qualities are things you can cultivate through your effort. Although many people may differ in which way, their initial talents and aptitudes, interests, or temperaments, anyone can change or grow through application and experience. Okay, so completely different. We're not going to worry about, ooh, am I already super talented in this one particular area, just like magically, genetically, or whatever. We go, okay, well, do I want to cultivate that? Is it an interest? Is it an intrinsic motivation for me to do that thing and maybe get good at that skill, or up my intelligence by reading more, or, going after certain things that you want to do, right? Skills. And then it just takes effort to cultivate those things. Thanks again for the hearts, guys. Do people with this growth mindset believe that anyone can be anything, that anyone with the proper motivation or education can become Einstein or Beethoven? No, but they believe that a person's true potential is unknown and unknowable, that it's impossible to foresee what we can accomplish with years of passion, toil, and training. All right, so imagine if you've got the fixed mindset, and let's say you want to do an internet business, and we see this all the time with Internet Business Mastery. People come in, they give it a shot, and they actually, when they email to go, yeah, this isn't going to work for me, they go, I'm not good at this. And we look back, and they've been in there in our course for about a month, and it's like, how are you not good at this at a month? No one was good at. the internet business thing that super fast, right? Like it's really rare that maybe somebody already has certain talents that work with certain types of business, so they move faster. But like it's incredibly rare that that happens. It didn't work like that for me, right? It didn't work like that for my business partner Jason. Most people it didn't work for. All right, catch you later. Thanks for sharing, Gina. All right, so we got the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. Let's move on. All right, so more stuff, more stuff. There's always an exception to the rule, and that's usually what everyone sees. Yeah, and in fact, that's what the media and society and culture cultivates is the idea of the overnight success. Like, I remember back when I was working in the whole Hollywood era for me, that Jim Carrey came on the scene, right? Like, and they basically, he did, I think it was Ace Ventura Pet Detective, and he became an overnight success, right? And I remember reading something from him, and he was like, overnight success? Like, he's like, I've been here my entire adult life. I've been here over 10 years. He's like, I was on In Living Color. I was doing all these things. I was cultivating my craft and the skill that he had to be able to be an overnight success. And I remember thinking that, going, yeah, why is everything all about the people that are overnight success? Like, when was the last time you saw, yeah, he worked at it for 20 years and now he's doing real well with it, right? He has such an amazing success story too. Yeah, and it was actually, he lived in his car for a while. 10 years to an overnight success. Yeah, it's so crazy. Again, that's just kind of what the society and stuff like that, the matrix cultivates that feeling. Oh, thanks. I have a great voice. Got my low voice. They cultivate this feeling that you have to have that fixed mindset. If you've got the talent, then you can absolutely succeed. But if you don't, well, I guess you don't get to do that. Like, that's such crap. All right, then she says, as you begin to understand that fixed and growth mindset, about the fixed and growth mindsets, you will see exactly how one leads to another, how a belief that your qualities are carved in stone to a host of thoughts and actions, and how a belief that your qualities are cultivated leads to a host of different thoughts and actions, taking you to an entirely different road. That's what psychologists call an aha moment. Okay, so obviously, if you're a fixed mindset, you're not going to try things that you think you're not going to be good at. And I know a lot of people, even my oldest daughter has a lot of this. Like, we're talking about it all the time. She'll start something and she'll go, oh, yeah, I don't seem to be really good at this. And, again, almost nobody, we can even, to the point where we can say, nobody starts something and is magically perfect at it. But because, again, the whole way this culture is, she's been infected with the meme that, when you try it, it's almost like, you sit down at the piano, and if you're not Beethoven, the first time you're not just this prodigy, oh, I guess I'm not good at that. It's total bullshit. And I've done it too. I've completely thought this too. And I'll even tell you, with Internet Business Mastery, we had success really quick. Now, I've got theories as to why that's happened. Yeah, you have to grind through the gap. Yeah, it's funny. I've got the gap somewhere up here from Dan Sullivan. He talks about the gap. All right, guys. Okay, here we go. Thanks for the hearts. So I did this. We had success relatively quickly. Like with Internet Business Mastery, the podcast went to #1 in 6 weeks. I think we went to #1 in Internet Business. And then when we finally did our first product, it sold out within minutes, a $2,000 product. But here's what it did. And then the next one sold out. And then we started a membership site and got, $35,000 a month the first day or first couple of days that we opened that. Our lives completely changed from that. But what that did is it made me feel like the fixed mindset thing going, I must just have a talent for this. Right? And it didn't allow me to grow. Like I started going, okay, well, I got to do exactly what I did in the beginning. And then things changed. Social media came up. The idea of blogging more, being able to even blog a couple times a week, getting your ideas out there more started happening. But my mindset went, well, I gained my success from doing these 3 things. That's all I'm going to do. Because, I was afraid that if I went out, right, that the success would drop because I had to keep doing what was fixed, what it seemed like happened really super easy. And again, I didn't realize this until I started reading this book, that was really what was happening to me in multiple ways. And instead of going, okay, things shift, things change, we've got to like cultivate our skills rather than just thinking it has to always be this way. And what we saw is as the market changed, our sales and stuff had a little dip because we weren't adjusting and changing and feeling like, ooh, here's all this new stuff we can do now. Let's grow. Let's cultivate that and add that to what we already do. And then we saw that until we started going, okay, we can do other things too. We don't have to do just that stuff. Hey, okay, so doing something different after you had success one way is hard. Yeah, and it's absolutely necessary. You can't just stay one way. I mean, I think about Kodak, right? Kodak didn't change with the digital thing and went bankrupt because of it. They were fixed. They had the fixed mindset. Here is what we are as a business. Here's what we do. They didn't pivot. They didn't change. They didn't have the growth mindset. And boom, they had to go freaking bankrupt because of it. And lots of businesses do that. The music business, I mean, there's just so many businesses that keep that fixed mindset. So in some ways I went, okay, yeah, I fell into that trap. And now the thing is to try and look at every aspect of my life and try not to fall into that trap or see where I'm in that trap and start shifting it. Okay. Thanks again for the hearts. Oh my gosh, how are we going to get through all this? Okay, so why is it we stay in the fixed mindset? Is it because of our comfort zone? Yeah, I think so, because if you found that there's a certain way you act and there's a certain way you've been in the past that does work. Like she later talks about, the ups and the downs of both the fixed and the growth mindset. The fixed mindset is you might keep yourself in a particular aspect of life, right? Like let's say you have a certain job and in that job you actually know what you need to know and you thrive in that job in the way of people go, wow, you're really, really smart and you know exactly what to do. And it's scary to go out there like with the business stuff I was talking about. I knew how to do podcasting. I knew how to do the courses in the way that we did the courses. And it was safe. And I didn't have to reprove things, right? And so I can see where that is where you go, oh, well, this is pretty comfortable. But if you want more, if you want to have that epic, then you can't just stay like that. And in our case, we saw our sales and even how many people were listening to us and watching us. We saw that start going down and we didn't want that to happen. And the only way was to change. And James says, I could talk about this for hours. Your scopes just make me want to have a Skype conversation. Yeah, I might actually start doing Blab or something like this and have us all be able to pop in and talk about it. All right, so I'm going to keep going. Let's see, what is next? She then starts talking about being inside these different mindsets. She says, when you enter a mindset, you enter a new world. In one world, the world of fixed traits, success is about proving you're smart or talented. You have to validate yourself. That's all you're doing is validating yourself. Again, that is totally what happened to us. When we would speak on stage about the podcasting stuff, we would say, here is how we do it. Right? And we took certain stances like we don't have sponsors on the show. Like why have sponsors when instead you can sell your own products, right? And as things started shifting and changing, people were okay with sponsors even when you sell stuff. And we still have been like, we haven't shifted to do that kind of thing, right? So you're validating yourself in the fixed mindset. But in the other world, in the world of changing qualities, it's about stretching yourself to learn something new. It's about developing yourself. Periscope Blab, yeah, would be cool. Yeah, that would be really awesome. And I'm considering that as we, maybe dive deeper into some of this stuff. Okay, so next. In one world, effort is a bad thing. So in the fixed world, if you have the fixed mindset, effort actually shows you're not as talented, not as smart. Like, isn't that insane? It would be like, again, back to the Jim Carrey example. Like, he had to have been just that funny at the time and that talented or if the first time he went on stage he wasn't that funny and that talented, he would have quit. But if he had the fixed mindset, but he wasn't that funny and that talented in the beginning, he had to cultivate it, right? Like I've seen some of the stuff from when he first started, and I remember he posted it somewhere on YouTube or something a few years back. Here's some of the first stuff, and he was not good at all. Now he had some of the essence, he had that desire, that's what he wanted to do more than anything. Oh yeah, he broke out the, yeah, totally. Okay, so in one world, effort is bad. It, like failure, means you're not smart or talented. If you were, you wouldn't need effort. In the other world, effort is what makes you smart and talented. So again, the key to this is, and how devastating this can be. Let's say you're going to start trying to go after a certain goal, and you're trying to create these habits. If you start trying to do it, and you see that you feel based on the actions, because most of us aren't going to be just magically talented at something new, you realize, wow, it doesn't seem like I'm very good at this, because you have to cultivate it over even years sometimes, then you're going to quit. Like this, again, this was something I was seeing with my oldest daughter, and we've been talking about this a lot. She was, trying different things and then going, no, I'm not very good at this. It was making me crazy. I'm like, I wasn't very good at all the things that I can do well now. All the things that I've cultivated over years and years and years, I was not good at. Like I'm definitely, what's it called? An introvert. But I cultivated this, being able to talk to people and being able to chat like this. I had to cultivate this. This isn't my natural thing. It was this morning when I was sitting here reading this book and by myself thinking about this and going on a walk. That's my natural way of doing this. I had to cultivate this more expressive outward version of me. That's cultivated. It's not my natural way. So she says, you have a choice. Mindsets are just beliefs. They're powerful beliefs, but they're just something in your mind. You can change your mind. Okay, so we're kind of getting to the possibility of being able to change this mindset. And really, she goes incredibly in depth into how to change from, she's got exercises and workshops and all this kind of stuff in here to help you switch. I still battle that mindset. Yeah, I do too. Like as I was reading this, that's where I was realizing, man, I've got some business stuff that I just think is fixed. And even stuff with the eating stuff. I'm going, oh man, I have problems trying to, keep my motivation to eating well and taking care of the health stuff. And then my mind went, oh yeah, you're not very good at that. I'm like, what? I struggle with validation. Yeah, what is the way to get out of the fixed mindset? Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about this. Really, one of the main ways is buy the book. Because it goes into like 20 different ways of how to. But let me see if I can get over to some of that stuff here. I just got 2 more markers, and then we're good. Becoming is better than being. Okay, so becoming is the growth mindset. Being is the fixed mindset. All right? The fixed mindset does not allow okay, let me say it again. The fixed mindset does not allow people the luxury of becoming. They have to already be. And think of how insane that is. You already have to be smart. From where? Just luck? Like, is it, think of that mindset. It's just, it's so crazy. So at 18, let's say you're going to go into college and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do. You just have to magically already be really smart at the thing that you want to do, right? You're just magically talented at it. Like, that is completely insane. And basically, she's talking about the belief in effort as being something that's of value or not value. Right? Because the fixed mindset does not believe that you should put effort. Effort means you fail. Isn't that insane? And again, this is what was taught in school for me. Like if you didn't get an A, the teachers didn't give you as much time and effort, right? Like they didn't put as much effort into you, which is actually quite ironic. Okay, one more bookmark for today. Yeah, we're already at 30 minutes. Okay. So, however, this point is critical. The growth mindset does allow people to love what they're doing and to continue to love what they're doing in the face of difficulty. Right? Like if you're doing the thing that you love and you know that there's going to be effort, you know you're going to need to cultivate the skills to do it, which we talked about in the Louder Than Words book. It talks about how to be able to get your voice, to find your authentic voice and be able to do a business like Internet Business Mastery or an online business or, give to the world, you have to work on your identity, your vision, and your mastery. And you wouldn't be able to do that with the fixed mindset because mastery is all about effort, developing skills, cultivating the skills you're going to need to be able to put your voice out there. Thanks for the little heart attack, guys. And thanks, Hutch, for mentioning that. Okay, so she goes on to say, well, I just want to say this again. And to continue to love this thing that you've chosen to do in the face of difficulties. So I answered a question yesterday. I think Joe's still on here from @NakedConversions. And he asked about, what do you do when, you have these difficulties and you kind of want to quit? Like that's something I answered last night. And this is, first of all, you got to make sure you have the growth mindset because you can continue to love what you do with a growth mindset in the face of difficulties. And there are going to be difficulties. I mean, it's like with Internet Business Mastery, even though we did really well in the very beginning, it has been a roller coaster ride the entire time. And had we quit, when it started getting tough, we had this like roller coaster, we're going up and we're like, wow, we're just so good at this thing. And then boom, we started going down, we would have quit, right? Because we would have said, wow, we aren't as good at this as we thought we were. And then we would have completely quit. So she goes on to say, this point is also critical. In the fixed mindset, everything is about the outcome. The outcome, heading to surgery. Yeah, sure. Good luck. The fixed mindset, everything is about outcome. If you fail, or if you're not the best, everything you've done has been wasted. The growth mindset allows people to value what they've been doing regardless of the outcome. Right, so think of that. When you first try and Periscope, let's even say the first week you try and do this Periscope thing, and let's say 3 people come in, and then they all leave in the middle of what you're talking about. You'd go, clearly I'm not good at Periscope. When that's not how it works. You know what I mean? Like, you have to keep going. You have to cultivate that. You have to get better at what it is. It doesn't just magically come. It's so crazy that's what people believe. Okay, a couple more things. She says, did I do it for the success, or did I do it because I thought the effort itself was valid? Like, we've got to do these things because we just love doing them. That's party. Hey, what's going on? Guitar answer guy. Hey, what's up, man? It's all about doing it because we love the actual act of doing it and the effort. And even if we don't get the result we want, it's going to be understanding and enjoying the effort we put out. Right? That's what's going to keep us going. Because if every time things don't work out exactly the way we wanted to, we'll just quit, because why not? I'm not smart enough. As it's saying, the fixed mindset would go, oh, you're just not good enough. Okay, one more. People with a growth mindset might also like a Nobel Prize or a lot of money, but they're not seeking it as validation for their worth or as something that will make them better than others. And this is something Jason and I have talked about a lot, was that anytime we did something and it didn't have as much of an effect as we hoped it would, and it would be an arbitrary thing like, oh, this launch has to make $1 million. And let's say it makes $800,000 and we're like, wow, we're total failures as human beings. Right? Like, that's the fixed mindset. Instead of going, oh my gosh, we created all this value for people. Right? So anyway, there you go. There's the first little part of it. Yeah, I'm only at page 54. When I wanted to quit, I kept going. Then I eventually quit. It was great. Yeah, good job. Fixed mindset, right? So I didn't quit the business, but I quit the niche. Well, and that's the thing. You might find, along the way that what you're trying to go after isn't actually the thing. You might find out that you were trying to do something because other people were doing it, and you thought, oh, I just want what they want, and so I better do the exact same thing they are doing. If you don't love it, don't do it. Yeah, I mean, this is our life. We can do whatever we want with it, really. Barring, you can't be I'm not going to be in the NBA, right? Because I'm all of 5'11". The only way to quit, or the only way to fail is to quit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Okay, any other questions before we go? That's what I wanted to start with today. We got to work on that mindset. And remember, if you're not already following me, definitely click the little guy down here and click the plus sign next to my name and go to the Facebook group. We're going to be talking, we're going to be talking all about this kind of stuff for the next week or so. EpicLifeLeague.com. That's join the league of those of us trying to make and design an absolutely epic life. Thanks so much for the hearts, guys. Any questions, anything else you want to talk about or mention before I go? I'll give you a second and join the hearts. I think I'm going to go more into this possibly tonight or tomorrow. And again, in the Facebook group, that is where I put the replays. So far, my favorite thing that I've done so far on this scope thing is in there right now. It's in the Facebook group. It was yesterday morning. Finally starting to get this connection to my real voice, my authentic voice or whatever. So Nikki's saying, somebody asked how to get away from the fixed mindset. Yeah, so I'm going to go more into that as we keep going. Right now, we're just defining what these two mindsets are. And I haven't actually got to that part of the book yet, although I flipped through it and she's got a bunch of exercises, a bunch of stuff that you can do to actually have that. Missed the 90-minute scope, gonna go watch that today while I work. Awesome, yeah, that's the one from yesterday. Really got into it yesterday. It's kind of like practice makes perfect. Absolutely. Yeah, practice makes perfect. It's cultivating skills instead of going, well, if I'm just not magically good at it, then I'm not going to keep going with it, right? Which is insane. I mean, think of all the things that aren't done. Think of all the things you're not doing because of this fixed mindset. I heard it was epic. Yes, that's the thing from yesterday. Yes. All right. Anything else? Here, I'll put up the book. How my lights make it. Carol Dweck. Official just came in. Aspiration gap. It was epic. Thanks, guys. Jeremy just came in. Will mindset cause us not to be motivated to move forward? Well, yeah, sure, because, I mean, imagine if you've got a fixed mindset and you try to do some business, like let's say you want to try, hey, what's up? Right at the end, we're just about done here. So let's say you've got the fixed mindset and you want to start a business and you start doing some of the things that you need to do to get that business going, and it doesn't take off the way you want. It doesn't take off in the way you have in your mind. Ooh, I want to make $1 million the first year, and it doesn't work that way. With a fixed mindset, you'd go, well, I just don't seem to be very good at business, and you would stop, which is completely insane. What would you say to people who are born with a talent like drawing? What would you say to people who are born? Well, if they want to draw, then do it. And if they don't. I actually used to do a lot of art. I even did competitions when I was a kid for art. But sitting there and drawing didn't give me the same, and painting too. I even did some sculpting. And considered myself an artist until I was about 30 or so. Really, it's about what is going to fulfill you in life. Just because you happen to be, let's say, genetically talented, or I don't even know what to call that. You're born with a little bit of a boost at some gift, doesn't mean you have to do it, right? And then Martin says, or those who are definitely artists and those who are not. Again, with the growth mindset, you can still cultivate it. And I think later we'll talk a little bit more about the degree to which you want to do something. So if you want to be the greatest artist in the world and you have absolutely no skill whatsoever to it, and as you're trying to build your skill, you find that, wow, this is just too much effort. At some point, you still get to choose. I think you still want to find areas where you have some strengths and start developing those strengths. But why not still go try? Just because I'm good at it doesn't mean that I enjoy it. Yeah, no fulfillment. Right. Right. And that's what it was for and it's funny you mentioned drawing because that's what I was good at. I won awards when I was a kid for doing it, but the act of doing it in seclusion in the way that I had to draw and stuff like that, I didn't particularly enjoy that. Every scope I learned so much more. Thank you for the dedication and consistency. You're so welcome. Yeah, sounds like my daily job. Right. like now is the time and chance to think through this and get out of something. Start developing what you can so you can shift out of that. I get that. Like the movie Amadeus where Salieri, I think was envious of Mozart. Yeah, but he was still doing it. And see, his huge mistake was being envious of Mozart. Like, why ever compare yourself to anybody else? It literally makes no sense. Everybody has different level of intellect, skills, dexterity, right? Like, think of all the things you would need to be Mozart. Right? A certain way of listening and hearing music, a certain, dexterity that you have, and in his case, a certain little bit of level of insanity. I mean, like he had all these things making that happen. And I'll tell you what, as I'm listening to all these biographies of people, there's this combination that needs to happen for these high levels of success. But, like Elon Musk, he definitely has this place where he goes into himself and he can't even hear and see people around him. Like, that's really interesting. I don't have that. So cultivating his engineering, thinking, and all that kind of stuff isn't something that even interests me. And again, I've gone further in the book than we talked about today. She starts talking about being able to choose, because if you can kind of choose almost anything, you still, I think, want to choose stuff that are going to fit you better. You're trying to find that, right? And just because you don't have all the things doesn't mean that you can't create music. Yeah, I mean, think of Salieri. Is that how you say his name? I haven't watched that in a couple of years, but he still created wonderful symphonies and stuff. Right? Like he still was celebrated to a certain level. He just, and I think that, it was the fixed mindset that was attacking him going, wow, I'm just, since I'm not Mozart, then I suck. Even though he was living the dream of making the music. Had he focused on what he could do, the creativity and the gift he was giving with the music that he could create, he wouldn't have thought of that. Like, again, the comparing yourself to others literally makes no sense. It's completely illogical because we all have completely different, genetic possibilities. We have different backgrounds. We have different challenges, different, benefits to what our life is and stuff like that. So we can't even if you're a twin, you can't even compare yourself because of differences in brain chemicals. I mean, there's so much to it. It's insane. I'm not Mozart. I definitely suck, but I'm making good money with music. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I've heard you play the piano, and it's awesome. Like, as somebody who doesn't really know the difference, because I don't understand music, I haven't gone into that, I wouldn't know really. But there you are doing it. You love it. You're making money at it. I mean, that's so funny. You're living off of that talent that you've cultivated, whether you think you're good at it or not. It's funny. It's a waste of time and emotion to compare yourself to others, and yet we are judged like this. Yeah, that's why I also completely don't worry about judgment or critique from anybody that I haven't given the status of somebody to give me critiques. Live in your passion. Awesome, Johnny. All right, guys. I think that's it. Anything else? Again, if you haven't already, join the Facebook group, epiclifeleague.com. That will just simply take you to the Facebook group. Click join and join us in this conversation. I do scope notes. All the stuff I talk about, I make notes about it and put other really cool things that I'm finding during the day. If I compare myself to Justin Timberlake, I'd want to quit. But I can only get better. Yeah, see, that would make sense, or that would make no sense to try and compare yourself to him or anyone else. All right, guys, I guess that's it. Thank you so much. I guess I'll either talk to you later tonight, depending, or hopefully tomorrow. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Thanks for all the hearts. Get in. Let's start getting this conversation going inside the Facebook group. Things you're finding. I'll show you the stuff that I'm finding, and let's help develop this whole epic life thing. Keep pressing and keep improving. It's all about the mindset. See you, brother. Yep. See you guys later. Talk to you later.